What you should know about halfway houses. There's more we got to learn about halfway houses. Now let us learn about its origin, role, types, requirements, and its pros and cons. Halfway house and its origin. Halfway house, also known as residential treatment center, term that's accustomed to seek advice from community-based facilities that are established to supply access to community resources and provide transformation opportunities for people who are trying to come to society as healthy, law-abiding, and productive members of the community when they have been found guilty of some crime. The idea of the halfway home is predicated upon the ideals of humanitarianism, rehabilitation, and reintegration. More usually mentioned as residential treatment centers in modern criminal justice and social services systems, halfway homes have been inextricably connected to the dominant social control philosophy of their eras. A major occurrence within the development and operation of halfway homes occurred between the 1930s and also the early 1950s as a result of the Depression, the growth of parole, and the pre-release setup demand that the wrongdoer has employment before release. At the top of this period, however, disillusion with the rehabilitative potential of the jail joined with the growing conviction that the rehabilitative method necessitates some communication between the establishment and the community to launch the national halfway house movement of the 1950s. The movement gained momentum in the 1960s, throughout which period the International Halfway House Association was shaped and varied roles for halfway homes were developed. The impact of the movement has already been specified. One observer speculates by current view, it bids truthful to become the foremost unforgettable development in penology within the half of the 20th century. Moreover, historically, little information regarding halfway homes has been obtainable to the public, despite the fact that they are a significant feature of the carceral system. Even basic statistics, corresponding to the quantity of halfway houses within the country or the number of individuals living in them, are troublesome to impossible to find. Living in the role of halfway houses. The primary operation of a halfway home is to accommodate offenders with obscurity to travel and nobody to support them. The halfway house gives them with an area to sleep and meet their basic needs. Although this can be the essential function, the halfway house is not a normal dormitory. It should facilitate discharged offenders so both the employees of the halfway house and probation officers provide the residents with guidance, instruction and numerous programs. In these facilities, people board a group atmosphere beneath a set of rules and requirements, together with attendance of programming, curfews, and maintenance of employment. Once you have completed the substance recovery treatment plan, the important challenges are going back to the real world, clean and sober. There are many various things you'll have to be compelled to learn to assist you fight the triggers that threaten your recovery, that is wherever a halfway home is beneficial. These facilities are created to help those transitioning from treatment into life outside of treatment. They assist you learn to be a functioning, contributive member of society. The first goal of a halfway house is to transition convalescent addicts from a lifetime of drug abuse to living as an accountable member of society. Unfortunately, for several individuals transitioning into society suggests that they will not have employment or a place to stay. A halfway house provides these residents with the support they need, until they're absolutely capable of living independently. They offer a number guide along with therapy, counseling, process training, existence capabilities and different techniques that will help you feature in society. So, the number one cause of halfway homes is to be a bridge among the remedy center and the outside world. While dwelling in the halfway residence, you will obtain guide from both your peers and superiors in a drug and alcohol-free environment. The purpose is to inspire citizens to examine lifestyle's abilities with the intention to allow them to be efficient individuals. The interactions among your peers and the halfway residents let you discover ways to broaden social relationships that don't contain substance use. All existence capabilities and strategies you want to live on and stay a sober existence in society may be taught earlier than you move from the halfway residence. This shape of transitional dwelling is vital because, unfortunately, while recovered addicts move again to their old home and neighborhood, they frequently relapse. The halfway residence is a manner to save you this. Types of halfway houses. Halfway house may speak with some different types of centers, which cannot be addressed throughout this briefing. Sober living homes, though typically housing formerly incarcerated individuals, don't serve the only real purpose of acting as a transformation area between confinement and re-entry. Sober living homes accommodate people with substance use disorders, and they're sometimes referred to as halfway houses as a result of they usually act as transitional housing for people exploiting drug and alcohol rehabilitation programs. Restitution centers and community-based/residential punitive facilities act as alternatives to ancient incarceration, rather than prison or jail, wherever individuals will attend serve their entire sentence. In restitution centers, people are expected to figure and surrender their paychecks to be used for court-ordered fines, restitution fees, space and board, and different debts. Community-based/residential punitive facilities oftentimes embrace a work-release component, however, they perform a lot of as minimum security jails than re-entry services. Some transformation housing providers for individuals leaving prison are voluntary for residents, and don't seem to be funded and contracted by the government. Susan Burton's A Replacement Means of Life Return Project, for example, offers safe housing and support for women leaving incarceration. Their services provide a possible model for the longer term of re-entry programs that really facilitate residents construct their lives when the harmful experience of prison or jail. Differences between sober living homes and halfway houses. When you're searching out assist at the same time as you figure for your sobriety skills, it's essential to apprehend the distinction among sober living and halfway homes so that you can determine which one is probably proper for you. Today, a few sober dwelling houses are affiliated with addiction remedy centers, at the same time as others. So what is a halfway house? By contrast, a few halfway homes are run via way of means of authorities agencies. Halfway homes may be crowded and dorm-like, at the same time as sober living houses are established greater-like and non-public residence, affording citizens greater privateness and comfort. Another key distinction among sober dwelling and halfway homes is the cost. Halfway homes have a tendency to be the much less costly alternative, due to the fact they commonly have fewer amenities, little privacy and much less structure. However, sober dwelling is occasionally blanketed via way of means of insurance, which makes this a possible alternative for individuals who should gain from this stage of assist. Halfway houses requirements. Individuals who are taken into consideration to be at chance for harming themselves or others and people who have a record of fleeing remedy centers aren't appropriate applicants for halfway house residency. Halfway homes typically require citizens to be self-sufficient such as hygiene and different primary self-care skills, and to be freed from any extreme physical impairment that might require ongoing clinical care. Other necessities can also additionally exist for admittance into particular halfway residence programs. Rules range from facility to facility, however there are some guidelines which might be common in most sober living homes. When you pass right into a halfway house, you compromise to those terms, and violations have results such as fines, making amends or maybe being requested to depart the facility. Some common halfway residence regulations and recommendations include: you need to live sober. Drug and alcohol use isn't always allowed, and you're concerned to random drug testing. You require to make contributions to the residence via way of means of doing chores. No fighting or violence towards other residents. No stealing or destroying some other resident's property. You require to adhere to a curfew. You require to attend 12-step or different restoration meetings. Likewise, you can be required to interview for jobs in case you don't have already got one. Pros and cons of halfway houses. Overall, the idea of halfway homes is a typical one in all getting better addicts. Therapists and professionals agree that those houses can work as an extension of remedy and offer extra aftercare guide as human beings reintegrate into society. Here are some of its advantages. Great transitional residing space. The whole factor of sober living is to assist addicts and alcoholics move seamlessly from substance abuse remedy to the actual world. Drug and alcohol-free. Residents typically signal an agreement upon getting into a sober residence. Relapsing violates the agreement, and tenants are directly kicked out. Responsible halfway homes will then work to get the resident right into a remedy mill or detox. Promote responsibility and prevent relapse. Through this sobriety agreement, residence meetings, drug tests, breathalyzers, and network support, restoration homes provide duty that facilitates the ones in early sobriety. Offer structure. The structure is highly useful for those transitioning from rehab return to the world. Any accountable sober residents would require citizens to have a job, are in school, or volunteer. Reliable sober houses additionally require citizens to wait a positive quantity of 12-step meetings, have a sponsor, and be concerned in step work. Offer week-to-week hire terms. This enables residents in early recuperation to manage to pay for rent. Also, many healing homes are greater than willing to arrange fee plans. Halfway homes are frequently affiliated with different transitional residing facilities. Meanwhile, it is impossible to establish the perfect organization to serve their purpose. Despite the advantages, there also are a few limits to halfway houses, which includes the duration of time that an affected person can continue to be in them. Regardless of whether the affected person is prepared to be included again into ordinary existence, as soon as their time at a halfway house is up they ought to move on. If any individual is getting better at a slower pace, however nevertheless making progress, then rushing them back into normal lifestyles should add extra pressure to the situation and make a contribution to a relapse. One cause that is the case is because of low funding for most halfway houses, as they generally rely upon government investment to operate. We hope that you've gained new information from our article. We'd love to hear any comments or suggestions from you.